Our customers are trying to solve real problems, and we want to help them succeed. That's hard to do if we're unclear about what their challenges are. If we don't take the time to understand their priorities, or if we sequence our work based on assumptions instead of alignment. When we fail to respect their perspective and don't include them in the vision, we undermine the trust needed for successful outcome on both sides. This is where user story mapping can make a real difference. It helps us avoid these common pitfalls by creating clarity, connection, and a shared sense of purpose. And when it's done well, it reinforces the four pillars that make Agile work: context, mindfulness, respect, and trust. Let's start with a quick refresher on what a user story is. It's a short, structured statement written from the user's perspective. It goes something like, as some user role, I want a capability so that I get a benefit. It describes the who, the what, and the why behind our work. This format centers on value, not just what we're building, but who we're building it for and why it matters. Story mapping takes it a step further, turning isolated user stories into a shared visual narrative that guides both technical and non technical teams towards meaningful outcomes. The first strategy we'll explore is how story mapping creates context. Instead of a flat backlog, a long list of items to do, we create a two-dimensional view. We group related user stories into major themes that reflect a user's workflow or journeys, and we prioritize those along the way so we can see a clear progression of needs from the user's perspective. The simple act of visualizing the experience grounds everyone in the same reality. Suddenly, the conversation isn't just about getting tasks done, it's about delivering purpose. This context helps teams align, communicate clearly, and stay anchored when things get complicated. That's especially important when working with AI. The more ambiguous or powerful the tool, the more we need a clear shared understanding of what it's supposed to do. And just as importantly, what it must not do. Mapping helps prevent costly misunderstandings before they start. The second strategy is using story mapping to foster mindfulness. As stories are arranged and discussed, teams start spotting connections, dependencies, ethical implications, system vulnerabilities. This is where mindful design starts to emerge. When we map not just the what, but also the why and the what if, we begin to see potential pitfalls before they become real problems. We start understanding what's essential and what isn't, what must be done now, and what can be deferred. This is especially important with AI. You can't just look at functionality. You have to examine both the consequences and the benefits of what you're implementing. Mapping allows you to surface blind spots early, such as where bias might be creeping in or how automation might unintentionally replace a human touch point that users genuinely value. Third, story mapping helps us build respect. The structure forces teams to understand user needs from the user's perspective before diving into implementation. It slows us down just enough to ask, is this solving the right problems for the right people? And when we prioritize stories based on user value, not just technical curiosity, we show respect for the people the system is meant to serve. In AI work, this includes respecting the people already doing the work you're trying to automate. The map creates space to preserve the human contributions that matter instead of defaulting to full replacement. That balance is essential if we want adoption instead of resistance. We automate where it helps most, and we evaluate if we need to automate what remains. Fourth, mapping helps develop trust, especially across functions. When teams work across the same visual map, everyone can see progress, understand trade offs, and contribute meaningfully. This transparency reduces ambiguity and avoids the need for endless status updates. It gives stakeholders confidence that the right things are being worked on in the right order and for the right reasons, and that we're delivering the highest priorities as early as possible. In AI initiatives, that trust is essential. Mapping becomes the meeting ground where engineers, ethicists, domain experts, and business leaders can work through tough decisions together before risks become realities. And the fifth and final strategy is core to the story mapping practice: release planning. With a visual map in place, you can draw horizontal lines to mark versions, releases, or milestones. Each slice delivers real usable value, not just tasks checked off that result in disjointed user experiences. Properly structured releases let you deliver value quickly, learn fast what works and what doesn't, and adapt before going too far in the wrong direction. For AI work, this incremental approach is critical. It reduces the risk of overbuilding. It creates fast feedback loops so you can validate assumptions before they become commitments. And it shows measurable progress early, which builds momentum and stakeholder confidence. So, how do these five strategies connect back to agile culture? Simple. Story mapping doesn't just help us plan, it helps us embody the four pillars. It creates shared context. It encourages mindful systems thinking. It centers user respect in all decision making, and it builds cross functional trust. This is the cultural foundation that allows agile practices to succeed, and the same foundation that makes AI implementations safe, ethical, and effective. If you're new to story mapping, start small. Pick one initiative. Include people who interact with your solution from different angles: users, developers, support teams, everybody. So you get the broadest perspective possible. Map the user journey, fill in the details, prioritize. Then, most importantly, use the map, not just once, but throughout the entire effort, updating it as you learn. You'll be surprised how quickly it becomes more than just a planning tool. It becomes a trust building, culture shaping artifact. And if you've already used story mapping before, I'd love to hear how it worked. Did it help? Where did it fall short? Your experiences help others improve their practice, so please share them in the comments. And if you'd like to learn more about creating powerful desired outcomes that guide transformations, like one of these, I'll be happy to tell you all about it.